So, I wonder if 30 minutes on this Tuesday. Sweet. All right. Can you hear me? Hello?
We can hear you. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry?
Yes. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, sweet. Cool. Let's begin. Thank you, everyone, for popping by. I do anticipate the session to be like fruitful, that we'll get to learn something. This is a production series where we started with session 1, where we shared up on our techno journeys, like how you got into techno. So maybe that can be something STUKES and BUDALAGI you can share on how you ended up in the techno world or your journey through it, and even the production journey. So today we are learning from producers, and then the next one we'd like to encourage like testing what you learned today. So after the session, we'll have time to start creating a track from what you've learned, and we'll have a Google folder. Like through the week, you can continue producing your music. Then afterwards, upload it to the techno folder, to the folder, and then when we have the session 3, which will be a live event, we can test out the music. And also if you'd like to do a live performance of your track, that's also an option. So I'd like to say hi to the people in person. Hi, I see you. I see Coco M. Thank you for joining. I see I see Mukewa, Savi, Budalagi. Nice. Cool. So yeah, I think I can hand over to you, STUKES. Then we can get started.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Yeah, my name is Marshall STUKES. I go by STUKES. That's my last name, obviously. Yeah, I've been producing music for I guess since 2008-ish. My friend showed me FL Studio in college because that's what he used when he was in high school, and I just ran with it. I didn't know what I was producing really until I had a coworker that also produced music, and I was like, "Hey, I make music, but I don't know what to call this." He was like, "Oh yeah, this is techno." I'm like, "Okay," and that was like 2016, I want to say. No, 18, 17. But anyway, after that, I knew like I should, go into a deeper dive into the world of techno. So I had listened to electronic music before, but it was all over the place. So yeah, I've been producing techno ever since. I also that coworker actually put me in touch with another producer named Bernard Farley, who started Black Techno Matters, who was gracious enough to let me help run the organization. That's how I got in touch with Bonria and a bunch of other folks. So yeah, let's get started. So I have a kick here, just like a simple kick, a hi-hat, and another hi-hat. It's more of a shaker though. And then I have a couple loops here. So my process is really basically going through my samples folder and just like picking out sounds, things that I think that sound good together. And then I tend to go either one by one and like manipulate them to something that sounds either better or different. And then I'll just like have it in this this pattern view here. Or I'll start with like an ambiance or like a certain sound or sample, and I'll manipulate it, and then I'll go off of that. So I think today I'll start with the let's do this. I like to organize my sessions while I go, so like I know what is what. So let's see how this sounds. Okay, I didn't like that. Let's see, kick. All right, let's start with the kick first then. I'm also a go with the flow kind of person. I could start a session and it could take me like it could take me a day, it could take me a week. I've had tracks that I've literally started in like and finished in like a year or two. My last track that I released with Black Techno Matters is called Closing, and I had actually recorded that sample that I used in 2017 when I was working in DC. So it just like depends on what I'm feeling. Let's actually route this. So I'm routing this kick to another channel here. Move this over. And I'm going to add in a delay. And then I'll add in a filter, an EQ. So that's how, this is primarily how I get some of my my basses, just the kick repeated and a dotted pattern, dotted eighth note pattern, and I filter it, and then I'll sidechain it with this LFO tool, so you can hear the kick come out a little bit more.
I have a question.
Sorry, are we supposed to hear what you're doing?
Yes, can you not hear?
No.
Okay, give me 1 second.
No, thanks.
Can you hear that?
Yes, yes.
Can you hear that?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right,
Here.
cool. Let's see. So this is the kick pattern. just sidechaining the bass with this LFO tool, which basically brings down the volume. You can see here it's ducking the volume. I'll move on to hi-hat, add in a new pattern. Let's do something with this one. So something a little basic for now. But what I like to do with my hats to add rhythm is to, again, throw in a delay. Let's try out, since we're using Replica. Replica is from, I want to say it's from, yeah, Native Instruments. But you can use any delay plugin, really. The ones built into your DAW are probably best, but I've just been using Replica for a little bit right now. And my thing is, like, I love presets because it does most of the work for you. But in order to make it yours, you should like tweak it a little bit. And even further, you could modulate it. So you change the rhythm or the sound over time. Let's try this. Okay, I like that one. Let's turn down the mix a little bit. That sounds good. Let's add in another hat pattern, and this time we'll work with this shaker here. So I like to have constant sixteenths just to give the track energy. But I also don't want to have it like stagnant. So that's pretty boring. So I mess around with the velocity of each hit, and I tend to just like draw something random, and then see how it sounds. That sounds good too. Yeah. Let's go for. I'll skip these loops for right now. Let's add in some ambiance. So I have a few go-to plugins. Arcade is a good one from Output. It's basically a sampler that a sample subscription. But you could get, a few months free. I think it's like $10 a month. It's worth it for me because it's literally in every single one of my projects that I've made in the past like year or so. It's a great starting point for sounds. But let's do something. There we go, atmospheric. All right, so in that preview, there was one sound that I liked, so I'm gonna run through these. All right, let's go with that one. Okay, I'm not really feeling that in context. That sounds pretty good. So I routed this to another channel here, and then I'm going to basically add in another plugin that shapes the sound a little bit more. And when I say a little bit, I mean by a lot. Again, this is my output. It's called Portal. It's a granular delay, so it basically chops up the sound that's being fed into smaller grains, and then you can either you can change the size, you can stretch the grains, and then you can add in like different effects. But I don't tend to do these manually. I again go through the presets most of the time because it'll give me a good starting point, and then if I like something, then I'll keep it, but then I'll modulate it again over time over the track. So we'll listen. That sounds good. I'm going to add in a reverb onto our sample here. My go-to reverb has been the Valhalla Vintage Verb from Valhalla DSP. They make really good plugins. I think they're about $30 a pop. But let's. Okay, I want to dial this shaker here back a little bit. I think the tail is a bit long, so in FL Studio we have envelopes that you could use to modulate the sound. So attack is like how much time it takes for for the sample to go to full volume. Hold is when you have that how long it stays at full volume, and then the decay is how long it goes down to the second stage, and then sustain is how long it sustains that volume, and then release is how long it takes after you're done playing for the sound to go back to negative infinity or zero. So I'm going to dial this into something that's more staccato, something more. And this gives us a great way to build up energy in the track. So you can start out here like this. And then so to do that in FL Studio, we have you right click and you create automation clip, and it's basically like a line that the parameter that you use follows. So what I'll do here up to content is change I like that starting. So I'll do this. You don't have to do this. This is a very like in the weeds of production. But basically, I took that the value of this decay and set it to the minimum. So if I go here and go down to 0 on my automation clip, it'll always go to this value instead of all the way to 0. And then I'll find a value that I like. Yeah, I think that's a little too much, so I'll dial it back. And I'll do the same thing, but with the maximum. So now when I go from 0 to max, it'll be that that max value here. So I'll solo these. And you watch the. Yeah, sounds good. Let's see. So this is Massive X. It's a synth from Native Instruments. If you couldn't tell, I have like a handful of like audio production companies that I like, and I just stick with them because it's basically if you go and look for 5 billion different plugins to use, you never really get to know one plugin. So I tend to use like the same 5-6 plugins. It might not look like it because I got like a whole bunch here, but yeah, I just use the same ones, and you get a plethora of sounds. Let's try something out. So with this, I'm just looking for the like the highest volume of that sample that we threw in from Arcade. It's looking like either it's a chord, but I want to take the an F note. So I can add in. Let's see. Use sample Atmos. Yeah. So that. We'll throw this into a audio track or mixer track, and then we'll bring down the volume a bit because that was pretty loud. Sounding good. Let's add a little bit more energy with some more percussions. So again, I use samples and presets to basically start my project. They give you a good starting point. So you're not in the weeds of like, oh, I want this sound and I'm gonna like design it. The best for me, the best way to get to a good vibe is to start with a sample and then manipulate it. So I have a bunch of sample packs from Soma. It's a record label, and I believe they're based out of England. Let's see, percussions. We have some loops here. That's where I got these from, but I'm gonna find something a little bit more. You know, I was looking for energy, but I think this would fit in the track. We could add in more energy elsewhere. So again, I'm going to add in a little bit more, some more rhythm with Portal. I absolutely love Portal. It's like one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best plugins you can get. If you're going to get one to like do sample manipulation, this one's a great one to use. Let's try some presets out. Let's see. So going back to the energy, I normally add in energy through rides, and I have a bunch of Vengeance sample packs here that I've used since college. Basically, I haven't really. These are the main ways I get most of my percussions or cymbals. You can see here I have like even a dubstep one, but you know, it doesn't really matter what the label is for the sample pack as long as you get a good sound out of it. So we'll go to the ride here. So most of the time when I'm looking for a sample, I have the track in mind, and I think I'm thinking of like what would sound good with it. So I think this one would. Let's go and add in a new pattern here. Ride. Again, it's good to be organized so you know what everything is. I like to keep mine kick up top, and then the rest of the percussion, and then the other audio layers that I have. So the way I do my rides is either in a broken pattern like this, like normal, or I tend to fill in every other step. But then after I do that, I sidechain it. But that's before I add in some distortion with a free plugin called Saturation Knob. So it's like that wavy, bouncy feeling. Let's see how that sounds in context. Yeah, that sounded pretty good. Let's add another hat here. Just to layer it up. And I might change out this one here to something else. If not, we can just go back to it. Yeah. So that's how I tend to start off projects. From here, I might add a few more elements, and then I would arrange it out, building, modulating, building energy by modulating different parameters. So I might go into like the synth here and see. That sounds pretty cinematic, so that definitely would go great into like going into like the breakdown, build that energy, and then have something for the breakdown, and then the drop, obviously. So yeah, I think it's Q&A time.
Yes. Nice. That's cool. Thank you. I'm gonna hand over to Santuri Salon for the Q&A session.
Can you reduce the volume?
Yes. There's some feedback.
Yeah. All right. We without feet. Still have the mic. Can you?
Yes.
Oh no, I'm just talking.
Oh, sorry.
Actually, not the sound, but just.
Okay. Test. Can you hear us on that side? Wow.
You can hear it. I can hear you.
All right.
There's an echo.
So I hear an echo from you.
Everywhere.
Okay. Then we'll just go with these.
All right. Are we audible? Please turn it down. Just give us an emoji, and we'll turn down completely the sound on our side. Just give us a little chat if you guys hear us. Sounds like you can. Okay, so thanks for your patience, Marshall, and thanks for the demo. That was really inspiring. And yeah, it's probably because you have maybe you can reduce those.
Let's do it. I think everyone.
Yeah, if everybody could do those, that would be great. Because we are getting feedback.
What did you say?
Ray, if you can just let me know, can we proceed with the Q&A?
Yes, it is.
Maybe give us a little volume.
Speak louder.
Okay. Marshall, are you able to hear me? Or is there a lot of echo as well? Because I can type in the question.
Yeah. You can type it in too. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there still feedback from our side?
Yes.
All right. Then I'm gonna type in and hopefully you of vocally.
Okay. Hey, Coco here. Thank you for the presentation. Quick question on the kicks you use. Is that from FL in the box, or do you use samples? How do you go about mixing your low end? So my kicks, this one's from a sample pack called Raw Techno Kicks. Honestly, I don't remember where I got it, the pack from. It might be from, might have found it on Reddit through like either the FL Studio subreddit. But yeah, I tend to use kick samples, and then I'll manipulate them a lot. There's a plugin in FL Studio called Patcher, which is like an effects chain, but like what on just like on steroids basically. So you can add in different plugins here. So if I were to take this out and add in replica, this is just a standard, okay. And then I'd add in parametric EQ here. And then I might add in some distortion. It's a great plugin from Sound Toys called Decapitator. Very intimidating name, but it's a great like drive plugin. And I might do that as well. So basically what I'm trying to get at here is the same thing I did in this send. So I sent my kick out to this channel here with the delay and the EQ, also add in my sidechain, and this right here is basically the same thing as me putting this stuff here. It's just a better visualizer, I find. So the audio, these lines, this is where the audio is routed from, and you do this with most of my samples because I mean I've had friends of mine like say, oh yeah, I've heard that kick before, or I've heard that sample before. So, which is not a bad thing as long as it sounds good in context of your song. But I tend to take samples as a baseline, and then manipulate them so it sounds like more unique. To answer your second question, I honestly, I'm not great at mixing. I'm still learning. The way that I go about trying to figure out whether or not low end is good is I listen to it in different environments. So I'll use my headphones. I have a couple different pairs of headphones. I have my speakers, and then I'll like use it. I'll mix down a demo and throw it on my phone and listen to it on my on my either my earbuds or my AirPods. And if it sounds good on like all of those, great. But I do tend to just like EQ down, making sure like the low end is not like muddy with with a bunch of frequencies. One thing that I've noticed is that you get that muddiness if you have a bunch of different elements in your track all occupying that same space. So, for example, let's listen to this right here. And then we'll throw in an EQ for a visualizer. So you can see here, low end is pretty good. But then if I go into our, I think, sample here. Yeah. 7. And I throw in an EQ here. Okay, this isn't bad, but you still have some like bass here, but we want more of the higher these low mid to mid frequencies. So I'll just chop this off so we're not getting anything here. And then go here to this synth. And this is a bunch of low end. And then I'll do the same thing. I'll just either bring it down or as a shelf, because I still kind of want it, but not as much. I don't want it to compete with the kick, so I'll just bring it down or I'll cut it, and then I'll just see how it sounds. Let's do. Yeah. So this sounds a little better. This sounds better than before because we cut out the low end for the that sample, the synth that we have from Massive. So now it's not competing with your bass, your kick and bass. So basically, just make sure that the sounds that you have in your track are only the frequencies that you want them to have, if that makes sense. So for like, if you were to have like a string sample, for example, you wouldn't want it to have a bunch of low end, so you just cut that out. Thank you. Would you please type the name of the kick sample and plugin? Your screen's hard to make out. Sure. So it's that's the basis of the sample. The delay plugin that I use is Replica. And then this is the Fruity Parametric EQ, which is the built-in EQ for FL Studio. And then this distortion drive plugin is called Decapitator.
Amazing. Just back here. Is it still a lot of feedback?
Yes.
Right.
Is there another person? I don't have my sound. Jill, do you have one? No, I don't have one. Okay. For me, like how you explain about written that are the elements of school and the stuff that was cool to learn from you and that. I guess we can go with the like. I don't know about the. Should we?
You're not super old, Monrea. Do you have a mic that you can use?
Do I have a mic? Oh, okay.
I think we fixed our feedback problem. We were getting audio from Marshall's screen. Are we still feeding back? Or can we be heard now?
Yes, you are. Maybe
We're feeding back.
Yeah. Maybe refresh. Because earlier when it was okay. We can use this with the lucky reviews. We just disconnect one.
Mic check.
Yes.
Yeah, that didn't work. Okay. So if there's no questions from she or Jill, we can take the 10-minute break that we had planned for. Monrea, is that right? Can you type in the chat whether we should go for 10-minute break and then come back with Budalagi and his demo?
Yes.
Great. Marshall, do you want to add anything? I think I've muted you, so I'll ask Monrea to unmute you. But thank you. That was really fun, and the people who are tuned in, people who are joining in person, also were really absorbed in your creative process. So thank you so much. Can you unmute Marshall? Just so you can. Let me try.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun. I definitely would love to come back and do this again. I like spreading knowledge, and I might stick around for the other demo. But yeah, thank you again. If you have any additional questions, you could message me on Instagram. My Instagram is STUKESM4, STUKESM4. Just shoot me a line and I'll help you out. Yeah, thank you.
Sweet. Okay. I'd love to hear the ending. So during the creating track session, maybe we can build on it. I'll share the folder after the break. So break. All right. So see. We can find a liaison. No, it's in my website. It's break time.
Okay.
Ah. Oh my. I can't hear speaking. No practice. Like you see how I'm just talking fluently now.
But that's how
then
you should
when when it comes to this
I guess you're overthinking that.
ilikuwa na feedback. I think your feedback kitu. But saying, wait, when I talk. Oh yeah, you know, when I throw off. But the speaker, no, I can't talk about it. I don't like hearing myself.
Oh, we just have to do
Trying. Do you know the feedback? Are you hungry?
not you. Najua nilikuwa kuna chai hii sasa. So maybe let me open the door.
Yeah. No, there's someone would come through. But they usually like doing that combo. You've seen even the carrot and grapes.
So like
We can say even Akina Kelly themselves. Hello. Hello?
Hey,
Hey.
that was cool.
Yeah. It was a nice session. Okay, yeah. So how is it going on your side? Like, will you be able to speak?
Yeah, I think so. So the key thing is like if there can't be multiple screens with sound at the same time. When somebody is streaming, they can have their computer and the monitor screen sharing, but everybody else's mics have to be turned off. And when somebody wants to speak, we have to turn off the person who is screen sharing.
Okay. So should we?
No, the keys are right here on next to the neon sign. Yeah. So as long as when other people are asking questions, BUDALAGI's mics are muted. I think it will be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sasa, let's see. Then in case it still does that, maybe we can just use one laptop. We project that. BUDALAGI can speak from one, and then if someone has a question, they can come to the mic, to the laptop he's using.
Yeah, but also encourage people online to ask questions because we have like, I don't know, 2 or 3 people here, but they're not the most chatty people, so.
We also
But
through
take care of
here.
the people online, take care of your people, get them to ask some questions.
Okay, it's just Jill, me, and she as well. Like we're like 3-3.
Great. Well, yeah, just ask some questions, and then we'll have some people from our site as well.
Okay.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, let me go back to checking the audio. If you can tell people in direct messages or in the chat, however you can, that in 5 minutes we will resume.
All right. So, thank you. Right. Recess is going to end in 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Children, please come back from the playground. That was an acute joke. That was okay. Okay, I like the joke. Let me not put myself down. Ah, nice. I'm so happy at Iliwako TV. Like Stokes. I thought I was on. Vile inatokea.
1 2 1 2 1 2. One two 1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Mic test.
Yeah, now it's good.
1 2 1 2
5 minutes.
1 2.
We are now.
Yeah. So
3 more minutes.
what's your sound source? Can you open the mic? Yeah. Speaker default. Those are internal.
Yeah.
So select speaker. It's also like probably sending whatever sound you're sharing out there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh, yes, I want to put on.
All right. Cool. 5 minutes are up. How are we at the sound? Hello. She and Marshall, if you can hear me, press Z. If you can hear me, press Z. I see you, Marshall. Not type Z.
Sorry, press what?
Letter Z. Dancing.
Yeah,
Can you see us dancing on the screen?
dancing.
Mic check 1 2.
No, I can't see you.
Mic check 1 2.
We can hear you, girl. No feedback.
Mic check 1 2.
So if you click on your top right, I mean top right, there is meeting view and gallery view. Can you see that? Okay, sweet. It's Santuri. Okay, you can press S to stop. I guess we're all back and the audio is good on our side. Right, over to you, BUDALAGI. Okay. As you're getting the audio up, I wanted to show you a cool thing. Next to the chat, there are two icons. If you hover over it, you'll see meeting view and map view. Then once you click on the map view, you should see Marshall dancing on the chair in the meeting room. Can you see that? Can you hear me? So we'll continue dancing here till you're ready. It's Santuri.
Yeah, we're just trying to troubleshoot the sound.
It's okay. As we're having our dance sesh on the seats, it's okay.
Hey, Mondrea,
Mhm.
can you hear me? So for getting our sound from Ableton, how do you go about it? We're having trouble with that. Also, actually, so let me try play it. Can you all hear that?
Yes.
But it's just coming from the Mac speakers, so I don't know about the audio quality.
For them, because they're gonna, if
For them, it'll be good.
yeah, it'll be good.
You're probably just picking it up from the mic though, right? It's just the computer speakers going into its own mic, no?
Let me ask about the quality. What about the quality? Is it like faint?
I think it's manageable. I don't know. From She and Marshall, how is it on your side?
Should find some.
Let's try plugging it back in.
Yeah.
Just mute yourself first. Guys, you can just let us know. We're gonna try routing it through the mixer and just let.
Okay. So, Marshall, can you hear me? There's some notes I'd written. Maybe I can go through like a recap. Then let me know if I if I wrote the right thing.
I can hear you.
Okay, so some of the things I wrote were, so you can throw in a delay to add rhythm, right? We spoke about like using granular delay for shakers, for example, which the granular delay chops the sample into smaller delays, and you can like modulate through changing the side or like stretch the delay. Did I get that right?
Yeah. Yeah, the granular delay. So what it does is it chops up the sound that's being fed into the delay into smaller.
Maybe don't do it right now.
Then with the reverb, your favorite plugin is Valhalla Vintage Verb. I think after this, maybe we can do a recap of like the plugins you mentioned and the effects you used. Then we can attach to this recording once we share.
Yeah, I can definitely send over the plugins that I use. Yes.
Okay. Also, you spoke about modulation as an effect with the envelope, the ASD, the attack, delay, sustain, and release envelope.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I also talked about sample manipulation using a plugin called Portal. Are the plugins only FL based or also can be, or rather they're universal plugins, can be used with different DAWs?
Yes. You can use most of the plugins that I used in the demo and any DAW because they're just VSTs. So any application that can load in a VST will be able to use them. The only ones that you will not be able to use in like Ableton, for example, would be the Fruity Parametric EQ2. That's a specific plugin is only for FL Studio, but Ableton has its own built-in EQ. The other one is Patcher. That's a FL Studio specific plugin. But that's just basically another way to do audio routing. You don't really need it to the things that I was doing in the demo.
Okay. Also mentioned ways to add energy, such as adding rides, which you can you either set them through the four, like every 4 step, or every other step, and then side chain that. Where would you normally side chain it to? But I don't know if you mentioned, if you demonstrated that part of the side chain.
If I have a 4 on the floor kick, I'll just add in the LFO tool. There are other ways to sidechain. You can sidechain based off of like the kick level, or you can do it through other like direct modulation of the volume. But I tend to use the LFO tool and just change the LFO that's provided there to best suit the track.
And this would help achieve like a wavy, bouncy feeling to it.
Yes, because the audio from the levels for the ride go up and down, so it's like a, you know, like a more of a groove, but like a constant groove.
Like a constant groove, or what did you say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a constant groove. Yeah.
So how is it constant if the levels are going up and down?
Constant in a way like, you know, it's not like broken up. You can predict it basically.
Okay. And what would you define as a groove, and the definition of the rhythm, according to you?
To me, that's a good question. I guess rhythm would be how a sound is being played, and the groove would be the feeling of that rhythm. So you could have two things that are playing in the same rhythm, but they would have a different groove based off of like the different things that are affecting that sound. That makes sense.
So let's see. So if we just like a rough example, so maybe like a 4x4 right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be the rhythm, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the groove would be like ta 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 ta. I don't know.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Oh, okay.
It's like, so you would have the four beats, but the groove would come in through like a variation of the velocity of the ride. So yeah.
Sweet. And then you mentioned about like, so for example, during the breakdown, you can add a cinematic sound or a vibe to it. Yes.
Yeah. So I don't always have that in my tracks. But for the demo, that sound would definitely be a good way to transition to build up energy to the breakdown, or even build up energy within the breakdown itself, for the drop. So you could either do like play with the filter cutoff. That's like a really tried and true method. Um, So what that does is basically the filter cuts out certain frequencies of your sound. So when you uh, um, bring the cutoff down, it'll take away more frequencies. But then when you gradually open the filter, it'll bring back those sounds and give your track more energy.
Any other? From the question on mixing low ends, you advise like you can listen through different environments like your phone, your earphones, speakers, etc. Um, to get the feel of how it is. So, so for example, if you're listening through your laptop or phone, obviously for example, the kicks won't be so distinct compared to like speakers. Um, how would you like advise like achieving that low end feeling, like hearing the kick properly still on either the phone or the laptop without having to pump it up super like high?
I would achieve that through adding in other dynamics on top of the kick that aren't specifically low end. Um, you know, phone speakers, the earbuds, they're not going to have like that bass, but to give you the rhythm and the groove of the kick, you can definitely add in like another layer of higher, um, something that like the low mid range that would um, help bring out the sound of the kick a little bit more. You're definitely not gonna have to. You definitely shouldn't force sub in hardware that's not going to be able to produce it, because in other systems your track is not going to sound um, it's not going to sound great. So that's why you would listen to your track in different environments on different speaker systems, so you can get a sense of the track in those different environments. But yeah, my way of adding in um, that sense of the kick is to add in like layers on top of the kick and like a higher frequency range.
Thank you. Sweet.
Mhm.
So we can check in to Budalagi. How's it going? So something else you can add to the mixing of the low ends is using an EQ and stripping out, like lowering or like completely cutting the low ends of other sounds. to give room to, for example, the kicks in light of mixing kicks, and completely or lowering the high and mid frequencies in the kicks to give room for the kicks only. Yeah.
Yes. Though I don't always cut the higher frequencies in my kicks. For the example I gave before of the adding in like the higher frequency ranges for other systems. But yeah, definitely check every element in your track for that low end. I've had like simple hi-hats produce really like not audible, but like yeah, inaudible low end frequencies that after I cut the low end frequencies, made the track sound a lot better. So in my opinion, you should definitely either do a complete cutoff or a shelf of most elements in your track to give space to your kick. Yeah.
Right. Oh, nice. So you used different layers for today's demonstration. So for example, you had kicks. I'm assuming 2 samples of kicks. Oh,
No, that was just one sample.
oh, okay.
But
Hi,
sometimes
hello, hi, hello. Can you get a hand? They're probably hearing me on the thing.
Hope I can hear you.
All right.
Marshall?
yeah, so with the kicks, most of the time I tend to use one kick, but there have been other times where I say, for example, like the transient of one kick, but then like the tail of another. So the transient is like that first initial like few milliseconds of the kick that basically tell you, okay, here's the kick. But then the tail is like the longer, bassier sound of the kick. So sometimes I'll EQ one kick, or I'll make like an envelope, for example, like I did with the shaker. I'll make an envelope to cut off the tail so that I just have the transient of a kick, and then I'll layer that on top of another kick to make a different sound, and then run them through the same mix channel so they both have the same audio processing, so they sound like one cohesive sound.
So which other elements did you use today? You mentioned, so the kicks, they had shakers. What else?
Some the hi-hats, rides, the bass, which is supplied by a delayed kick, and then the other atmospheric elements. That could be anything from a sample that's been manipulated or a synth. Yeah, those are the two elements, the two other non-percussive elements that I use.
And are these usually like the main elements you use when you're creating a techno track?
Yes. So I tend to focus more on the ambiance and the vibe of the track, and that for me is achieved through sample manipulation and synth modulation over time.
Mm. I'm taking notes. Oh. So in learning how to produce techno yourself, what was your like process of understanding? Were you like, would you listen to one of your favorite tracks and try deconstruct the elements you hear? Or what would you say are other ways used to understand yourself?
So I do listen to, obviously I listen to a lot of techno, but I don't think I've ever tried to deconstruct a track. That is like a really, really good way um, to learn. I just, I haven't done it before. Though when I am listening to other tracks, if I hear an element or something, I will try to like recreate it in my tracks. Normally, um, you know, um, it doesn't come out exactly the way I want it to, but that's fine. It has my touch. As long as it sounds good, then it doesn't have to be like one to one. Um, and I've also learned over um, the course of my techno journey is just to practice and see what fits you best. I Before I've thought I had to fit in this box of, oh, I have to produce in this way only. But for me, the best way to achieve my sound is through sample manipulation and presets. And and honestly, there's nothing wrong with either one of those. As long as you achieve your goal, as long as the people on a dance floor are dancing your track, as long as the track sounds good and you like it, it doesn't really matter how you get there, as long as you're not like blatantly copy and pasting other people's songs.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, whatever methodology resonates with you is definitely the one that you should focus your energy in.
Mhm. Cool. And one important lesson that I noted is that it's good to be organized so that you know where everything is. Because, yeah, that's something I've experienced with FL, like, or just generally any DAW where you could be hearing something, something you'd like to change, but then it's like a journey tracing back to where you tweaked A, B, and C.
Yeah, exactly. It is good to be organized. I've seen projects from other producers that are like 100 tracks long, where it's like 100 mixer tracks, a bunch of elements and automation clips. Um, it's not My projects don't normally go that big. I think the most I've had in one track would be like 25. Um, but yeah, definitely staying organized is the best way to keep everything consistent, so you're not, hunting for trying to find like, oh, what did I name that clip, or what did I name this sample? Yeah, it's the staying organized is pretty key.
Sweet. All right. Thank you so much for those additional thoughts. But Budalagi, over to you. Nothing. Yeah.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you and no feedback. Yay, you guys did it.
So yeah, we did it. Great.
Nice. All right, let me check if you can hear my Ableton. Wait. So, yeah. Can you all hear the metronome?
No.
No.
Will you share your
Play the
screen?
metronome. So maybe share your screen. Yeah, that's great.
Should haven't shared screen yet.
I can hear the metronome, but they can't.
What about now?
No. She can hear?
Damn. All right.
So
Maybe let me just try the internal speakers. Can you all hear it now?
You'd have to select the internal microphone as well. Oh wait, yeah. Ask them again, just a bit louder.
Can you all hear me? The metronome, the metronome.
no.
No.
Still no.
Jill, can you hear? No.
Just hearing it.
I'm hearing from the
Conflict?
yeah, from the sound card.
So maybe you have some carbon move on to
For Ableton or for Farmyard? Farmyard, the out is okay. The in is the the in is the complete. The out should be the complete as well.
Try it.
Ableton is routed through the computer.
Can you all hear the metronome?
No.
So yeah, maybe go to the Ableton preferences.
Yeah. Output device.
Do you input issues from Capita?
Don't know.
No, it should be. Yeah, but they need to be able to hear Ableton. Like they can hear his voice fine.
No, they can hear Ableton now. The input.
Yeah.
Ask them. Can you all hear the Ableton now?
With the metronome?
No, because you guys can't hear. So how are they going to hear?
Should we set up a level?
Is it OBS?
Streams to record the studio mode settings. Sources.
Check the audio.
Ableton.
Yeah.
Can you click on the Ableton?
This one.
Yeah.
1, 2.
Yeah.
Is this the mic that we're seeing signal from for OBS?
Yeah.
Or is it the?
I think it's the inbuilt microphone.
1, 2.
No, it looks like the mic.
Can you reduce his mic and see if there's still?
I have a question. When you shared your screen, did you click on share audio settings? I mean system sound. It should be at the bottom left once you're sharing your screen. So you'd need to stop the screen share and try again, in case you didn't do that. So as we get through this, I trust we'll manage. In regards to the program rundown, due to the time lapse because of the technical difficulties, we'll skip the last session, which was 1 hour for the individual artist time to work on creating a track. So instead, we're going to have the, like we'll take it as a takeaway project, where you can create the track at your own time. I'd like to keep at least we can submit the track within 3 days. I think that can be a good time. What do you guys?
That's this one here.
So after
Still
the
hear it.
session, we
That's
I can hear it on there.
so they can hear it.
No, just listen, because I can hear it in here without this. Hold up. Never mind. Goes here. Both lines. Yeah.
Just everything in terms of speaker. Select speaker.
But why is it routed through the mixer? So I don't get it.
For the big sound.
Yeah. Just for them to hear.
This pointy as extra.
Yes. I can hear that.
You know the metronome?
Yeah.
Wait, let me turn off my mic and see if you can still hear the.
I can't finish.
All right, so I guess I'll just use everything inbuilt in our computer, which is not ideal, but make do. So I'll basically speak and then mute myself, and then yeah, it'll be a back and forth. So yeah, I'll just intro myself. My name is BUDALAGI, DJ producer. Been producing for about 6-7 years now. Started way back in high school. I think it was right after, yeah, like high school, early high school. That's when I got into, I started off with FL, and then at some point I made the switch over to Ableton because for the type of music I was making at the time, I wanted to make electronic, and yeah, just and especially the session view. The session view is what I like most. It helps me experiment and color my thoughts. I like that I can just switch up stuff easily, so I use it as my cooking pot, so to speak. And then once I get the right combination of sounds and palettes, I go, yeah, I can go from there to arranging. So like 90% of the time I'm in the session view. What else about me? Yeah, in Nairobi, what I do is I work for Santur East Africa, communications, that's like my major role. But yeah, a lot of miscellaneous stuff that we do. And I love techno. That's like, the wrapping on the icing on the cake. I love techno. I feel it just speaks to me. How I got into it was early on. We'd have this shows on basically music format, like live DJ mixes, but then they overlay the music videos on top. So like I noticed I liked the intros and outros of tracks, basically the kick, clap, and hat. So I was like, why can't this be the whole track? And eventually I found that this whole genre that's basically a kick, a clap, and a bass, yeah, super minimal stuff. And yeah, that's how I got into techno. Cool. I'll jump into the production
session. Yeah, I think I'll just like say what I'm gonna do beforehand. So the first thing I'm gonna do is, or what I usually do is find a kick or a bass. That's usually my starting point. I'll find a kick, and then from there I can start yeah, finding the right tempo that I want. So yeah, I'll do that first.
Is it possible to share your screen even though we can hear the audio? This we can follow.
About that.
And also allow me to suggest if we could take, like everyone can take like a breather. Like I'm sure there's a lot of tension happening at the salon. So we can take like 10 seconds to just like take 3 deep breaths. We can all center, come back to 1, and then we continue to the learning session. Cool.
Yes, I don't. Cool. Okay. 3 seconds. Just give us like a.
So the breathing exercise will be this way. You'll count 5 breaths, and each time take it slower than the other one. Right. At your own pace.
Five deep breaths, each one slower than the last.
Yes, so if you go 5, the next one will be 4, the next one will be 3, like that. For everyone. Nice. Ready when you are.
Amazing. I felt so good. Right. So I'll kick off with the kick and finding my tempo. So also I have the same raw techno kick. I find yeah, it has a lot of amazing kicks. So I'll just use the same one. That sounds cool. So from here, I'll usually find my drum, yeah, the drum channel slash bus. This is basically where I can program stuff. And I will drag and drop my kick inside there. Cool. And okay, just rename it for organizational purposes. I usually don't care about organization until the last, like it's all about creating. But for this, I'll just do that. Straight to the floor. I'll go with 126 BPM. Sounds cool. And what I also like to do is, yeah, this is mixing on the go. So what I'll do is I'll put it at -12 dB, just so I can get can from the get-go start having that headroom, and then I'll saturate it. So I'll find audio effects. What I can use is, yeah, Drive Drum Bus. This is like Ableton's own inbuilt saturator that that I find useful for like all my drums. I usually like throw this in there, and I can, yeah, it has like algorithm settings. Yeah, and I feel it just adds that bit of information in the mids for the kick. I can't accurately hear it since I'm using my Mac speakers, but anyway, that's, yeah, basically the the process will come through. All right, so we have a kick. What I'll go from here is maybe percussions or bass. I'm feeling bass, so I'll just get an operator that's like Ableton's stock bass thing, BST. Results. Yes. So, and from there, I'll try find a nice bass rhythm programming. I have two methods for techno. This one where it's basically I throw in random notes just to get the rumble, because all you need is the low end information. So I'm starting with the high notes because I won't really pick up the subs if I play lower notes, but I'll just transpose it and hopefully it will sound good. Yeah, that sounds cool. Also, apologies if the mixing won't be as good. I can't accurately hear again. So also, once I get to this point, is I'll want to saturate the bass as well. I like saturating just from the get-go. Because yeah, I find it as opposed to once I have that, I mixing process. Very end, I don't have to do much because I was also doing all these things while I was to go. For this, I'll just use saturation, saturator, button. Just take it down. And then something else I'll do is, since both of these are low elements, what I'll do is I'll sidechain the bass to the kick, just so like each it doesn't get muddy and each has room to operate as its own. So what I'll do is add compressor, audio effects, this type of compressor. Oops. All right, so I've added the compression to the bass line, and the kick. Once the kick hits, the bass line should duck. Kick. I'm rising up the tempo a bit because this is what I do like on the go. I feel like this could be faster, this could be slower, so I usually just like go off feel. Like for this instant, I felt like it would make more sense if it was faster as opposed to like a low BPM, because with the bass line there's an anticipation. Like I felt like there's something I need to add, so I just pump up the BPM so to keep the energy going. That's a good start. So now I'll go into percussions, add an audio track, a MIDI track, and then I'll add my drums. this is Ableton's it's called drum programming. I feel like a hat was a yeah. Sounds decent. Same thing again, I'll saturate it. All right. And again, yeah, this is just something I developed, is mixing on the go. And I didn't realize it was mixing on the go until like recently. Yeah, so I just like tweaking my sounds as I'm doing it, and at the end it's basically just arranging. Something I can do is maybe add a bit of delay. Yeah, just to bring in that swing. And this is, yeah, I'm using a send. So this is like Ableton stock send. Sounds decent, so I'll just stick with it. Next percussive element I'll add is a clap. I think it needs a clap. Yeah, and also I use a lot of samples as well, because yeah, you can go granular into, if I'm not feeling like sound designy, I'll just use whatever I have, because all my sample packs, yeah, like I don't just get any random one. I have to really like the sounds in there. And this is me auditioning sounds, and as the track is running, I'll just like be going through a lot of samples and saying, oh, that sounds like it's supposed to be in this track. I might change this later, but yeah, just for to get the programming going. Saturate. It sounds weak-ish to me. So what I'll do is just like saturate the shit out of it, and hopefully it'll sound like more punchy. Or I'll use the drum bass. Try another simpler. What? Yeah, it sounds decent, very straight techno. And something I'm keen on, at least something I'm keen on whilst making techno is the drums. That's just like intrinsic. I'm very keen on drums. Like that's well spent like 90% of the time. And then I'll throw in maybe a vocal sample later on, or like more mid elements later on. Let's continue. Still on percussion. So I think I'll throw in a shaker sample as opposed to programming it. I can try programming it, but I think it will be easier just so I can get to the other section faster as well. Shaker. Sounds decent, so we'll use that. And something I do is, just like it was mentioned, I don't check the whatever the sample pack was made for. Like this one was for my piano, but I like the shaker. It also adds that African-ish element or feel. It's not very drum programming. I like the dance, the swing that's in it. So something I want to do is tame the transients. It's like just so they're shorter, and you can do that using on the bottom left this section over here. What I'll do is, where is it? Okay, so what I'll do is, there's another way to do this. I'll use the drum saturator, stock Ableton plugin that I use, and it also has like an inbuilt transient shaker. Drum bus. Also, here's the transient shaper. So I'm trying to get the transients shorter. Yeah. So what I did is just make those. It's not as draggy as if it was like this. It's more, it's tighter. It's tighter this way. So right now I'm feeling like the clap and the shaker are fighting, just because they prepared the same. But yeah, the clap is like more piercing to the ear a bit, so I'll try and tame that either by transposing it so it's like a lower frequency using the transpose feature on Ableton's drum rack. Yeah, no, it sounds cooler. I can also use the drum bus dampener just to kill some high elements. With the shaker, I can just try and not have that much high information going. So I'll change the pitch. Clap sounds weird now, so I'll try and maybe get back to it. Yeah. Cool. I'm feeling I can start going into like mid elements territory, just like synths, pads, something ominous, something dark. Yeah, for techno, that's like ideal. So try find something. What can I use? Piano. Instruments. Try to find. Yeah, use synth. You can try this. See how this sounds. Yeah, can work with that. Trying to navigate this thing. just simple. Something I personally have a pet peeve for is just simple melodies. They're catchy, they're memorable. I don't like getting too complicated. And yeah, so I think I might mess with it later on, but just for starters, I just usually find the most dumbed down like melody I can think of. And now I can just like try and get more experimental. Now that I have this, I can like add MIDI effects or just something random. I don't know what I want to get out of it, but I just like trying to experiment and get an interesting mid element as opposed to like basic or like a progression. I feel like it's cooler, at least for techno, more experimental. So I'll try, let's go MIDI effects, and what can I do? Just like something random. Expression control, if that's going to do anything. I'll use an arpeggiator. And just use like one note then. Arpeggiator to just like have some movement. Right now it's on up, so I'll try this different stuff. I can try like up down. Let's see how that sounds. Up down, up down, up down, down up, down up, down up. Convert. I think that's cool. Very trancy. And this is from one note. So if you don't have any like technical key knowledge or like music theory, arpeggiator is like a simple hack for techno, I feel. Let's take this down. Yeah. And now I'll just add a bunch of effects so to get something interesting off of it. Audio effects, I think a delay. Yeah, a good thing is to like try out presets, and then you can tweak them depending on how, if you're feeling the vibe or not. And how you can, so you can do that is on Ableton, there's this hot swap feature that you can, allows you to just like audition a lot of effects. For Ableton, so there's this hot swap feature that allows you to, as opposed to if you were to drop just if you were to continue selecting but just like pile up, but this one allows you to like just switch them out. I like the this harmonics, very techno. Cool. I think I can add a counter melody or like accompaniment for that. Just find another synth. Instruments. I'll try collision. Yeah. Looking for a harsher sound. I think I'll just use this. Not harsh, but we can saturate it. Add some more just harmonics. That's cool. Yeah, so what I did is just added like just to break the monotony. Like, yeah, as you produce, like as a producer, I'd have one rolling pattern, and then I'd get tired of it and switch it out. And that's the balance you have to strike. Like if you're working on something for like 4 hours, you'll get tired of something and switch it out. So what I try to do is pace myself. And I know if also it's a positive in terms of refinement, because if you're refining and you stick to this, you find this last idea you've gotten, and it's cool, you don't get tired of it. It translates like music wise, people listen it to your track a million times and still won't get tired of it, so to speak. Something along those lines. So that's my theory. Try find a pad. No, he said I don't. Yeah, I'm not that keen on mid elements because I like the bass and drums. I think that's like the most important elements for me, like how I make music. But for this track, I feel it would make sense for it to like have more mid elements or go in that direction. Maybe track all results. Yeah, just something cinematic. Can't really hear these. Yeah, it sounds cool. See if that works. Yeah. The bass might not be in the right key. I can't really tell because yeah, I don't have monitors, but it's off. It's off. I'll try to fix that. All right, so yeah, I won't go in that direction because it's like, yeah, I can't really do that with my limited hearing. Oh shit. I feel like the claps are slightly late than not. Yeah, I don't like the swing that it has. So what I usually do is just manually move until I get a nice, or I can check the actual sample. The sample's good, so I'll manually move the notes just to get a nice. right. I feel drawing towards the end of the track. Like I might add. What else can I add? Yeah, I can add like more percussive elements. Like, I don't think you can go wrong as long as they're minimal. But this is something I'm happy with. So like six tracks, which is ideally for me what I don't have that many tracks as well. They would be sure that it wasn't like placing if I had one drum rack, so to speak, but I usually like laying them out just because I have more control. I can actually shape the sounds and level them better. And I have more control this way. I can try add a snare or something. Can I have a time check? Adding reverb just so it's like sounds more epic and bigger. I think on modulate the how long it takes to cut off, so I'll just go to the sand. It's a delay. Like the ping pong effect, it's like nice ear candy, which is stuff you can throw in. Some people like actually find that interesting. Like how do they like someone who's a layman in terms of music would be like, whoa, what's that? Like, why am I hearing it like bouncing? So that's like something you can throw in. And finally, to wrap it up, I think I'll throw in a ride, which is like quintessential. Right. So this would be the final thing, and then this would I'll take questions after this. A nice ride. Actually want to program the ride, so I won't use a loop. Because that's how that's how I roll. That's how I roll. Like I feel dirty sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, I can use a loop, but sometimes I'm like, like you're a producer, do it. Vengeance, also have Vengeance. Yes, some nice rides in here. So now I'll audition the rides. Like that one. try to transpose it to see how it sounds. Yep, sounds cool. What I also do is duplicate and have like 2 simultaneous writes, just like different translations. It's phasing, so what I'll do here, just like I can use the original. So I have like a low ride and a high ride that I can either use together or just for like more dynamicism in the track, I can switch them out. But they sound cool together, which is something that I usually, from the get-go, at least from session view, I can do. And now just like leveling them, since the same sound, I'll have to like bring one either or both down. Depending on what I want to be dominant. So I want the high one to be dominant, so I'll just bring down. All right, I'm happy with that. I've gotten to how many tracks? 9. Is it more? Yeah, that's this is a good. The clap can use saturation and also I think some delay would tie it all together. But this is like I thought I've highlighted it off because I'm finding it's like it sounds off to me, so I might have to revisit it. But the track without it sounds cool. I can either have the track without a clap, which is plausible. Also, I've done a lot. So yeah, this is the idea. So from this, I would arrange it. Thank you. Questions?
Excellent. Thanks. Thanks for walking us through that. We can take questions from the live audience and the virtual audience. I think we can go with people who are joining online since we had questions from Central HQ last time. Anybody from Gather Town? Feel free to open your mic. Give me comments as well. It doesn't have to be a question.
No questions from my end.
Go ahead, She.
No, I was just saying no questions from my end. Thanks.
For me, I think it's so true. It was interesting, like seeing the like understanding from the 2 perspectives. So with the arpeggiator, there's a definition you gave. Do you mind repeating that? Because I usually just like either tweak the style or rate, but I'm not exactly sure what. I just like play with it, but not sure of the essence of it.
The arpeggiator.
Yeah.
Okay, so what the arpeggiator does is it plays some notes or like what's the word, manipulates whatever MIDI information that you feed in. I'll just show it practically. So what it does is I think it's from like old tech that they used arpeggiators for techno tracks. So what it does, it just like if let's say, let me find that channel. Is it this one? Is it this one? Or I'll just use a new one. So what it allows you to do is just like if you have, it's useful for like if you don't have that much music knowledge, but you have like a sense of groove, so to speak, and it allows you, you don't have to carry the weight of trying to program like the note switches. It just like finds a nice rhythm for you, or you have to manipulate how you decide to use it. You just grab the arpeggiator. I don't know physics or the math or the coding behind it, but I just know as a tool how it's practically useful in the context of techno with some MIDI effect, yeah, arpeggiator. So what MIDI effects is basically they affect the MIDI. So for instance, if I have just solo this, if I were to draw for starters, let me just have one random note. So what the arpeggiator would be doing is basically, in essence, drawing notes for me. So it would be doing this. If it's up, down, it's going to be down, up. I mean, it's going to be down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And this is done just based off this one line that I've drawn, and it's just the algorithm that the arpeggiator will use. So let's say if I add in an arpeggiator, now if it's up, what it's gonna do is basically all the notes will just go, just find a synth, so it's easier. Instrument, analog, it's a bass. So just one. As you can hear, it's the style is set to up. So what this is doing is like it's if I was to draw it, it's basically the notes would just like it's going up. It's going up in an upward motion, so to speak. My mouse is not cooperating, but yeah, it's basically just like doing this over and over again. And if I was to choose, let's say, my mouse did. Yeah, so if I was to choose the style as going up, down, like I said, it's gonna be in this format. It's gonna, from this one line, it's gonna draw this down, up, down, up, down, up. And if I was to choose, up and down, it will basically just be doing this up and down, up, down, up, down, up, up, down. So yeah, it's more of a groove tool that I can put it that way, and I like to incorporate that. So if I have I'm not feeling like drawing notes, I just like do this, have one MIDI note that can be manipulated. So let's hear it. It's up and down. Yep. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me just finish from one there. And these are the easier ones. The up, down, down, up and down, down are basically just the movements the notes are going in. Not necessarily what key or like what music theories type stuff. Just like more groovy stuff. And these other algorithms are just like more complex. We can just like experiment with them and see what they give us. So to speak. Yeah, some are hard to hear, but basically they do some manipulation to the sound. I hope that makes it clear. Like,
Yes, thank you.
Welcome. Questions?
Yes. Okay, yeah. So first of all, thanks for the presentation. I'm a big fan of the quiz, as you know.
Yeah, I know. Thank you.
Yeah, a few questions with regard to EQing and what your thoughts are on that, because I noticed like instead of just EQing out annoying frequencies, you choose to like either transpose like the shakers down, up, or like you saturated it. Yeah, so what are your thoughts on EQing? Because I tend to EQ. Some people argue that like kind of
Yeah, I think for me, in EQing,
please,
Sorry,
do you mind reiterating the question?
Very well.
Repeating the question.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so the question is what Budalagi's thoughts are on EQing, because some people argue that EQing kind of like kills some of the good frequencies. And I noticed that instead of EQing some of the things like the shakers, he chooses to like transpose them up and down and stuff. So what his thoughts are on EQing sounds, and then maybe I'll ask the rest.
Okay, cool. Yeah, for me, like when I choose to transpose as opposed to EQing the sound, in an essence, I'm EQing because I'm moving the frequency, or like I'm removing it from, if they're occupying the same frequency, I'll transpose it down. So this other element will like move. So basically, I've technically cut out this I've technically shifted, or like they are not fighting for the same frequency space. So it's in essence it's EQing, but I'd go the route of EQing. I would do it if I feel like once I've transposed it and then I find like they're still fighting. Now that I'll use EQ and actually cut out the sound. But I think I'm of that opinion that once I hear a sample, I'm like, oh, I love it as it is. If I'm EQing it, then I'm changing it, and then I may end up disliking it. So I like to keep it as I found it, but then like what EQing is like the last thing I feel, because I feel like I feel like I'm cutting it, I'm making it thinner. It's not going to be as pronounced. But if I do EQ, I find myself like I'll also saturate it again, just because I feel like, oh shit, I've killed some harmonics, some content, and it's gonna sound thinner. So yeah, that's my take on it. Like I'd use EQ if it's not my first point of call, but to preserve just the original essence of the sample, so to speak. And I feel like it's not, you could argue that you're making the sample yours, which is something, if I want to go that direction, I will do it intentionally with, I want to make it, maybe it has the root note of the distinct note about it is what is annoying me, so I'll just cut it out and essentially made it mine. So it is an option, but it's like a second or third option for me. Yeah. Another question.
Great. Another question. So I also like mix on the go, and so I wanted to ask. This is more like after, like say for example, if this was done, I noticed you started everything at -12 dB and just kept going with that. Do you monitor your master, and also once you're done, do you like bring your master down before now going into mastering, or do you just like straight away start mastering and just like keep an eye on the meter?
Yeah. So if in a certain project, because it varies for me, in a project I'll be like, I won't do that initial dip in the something in the like the kick, but I find it safer, and I've just like realized it as I've made a lot of tunes. Like I'm like, why in the final master, like this sounds like, it doesn't sound as loud as a track where I initially ducked it. So it's all about headroom. And what I realized was, just like comparing all these tracks, I like walk back, what did I do differently in this? So what I realized is once I start like from -12 dB or like -18 dB, I have more headroom to play with. And because I had a lot of saturation, as you've noticed. And in my initial productions, I was still adding saturation, but with less headroom. So once I bring the level down and I boost it, the saturation it doesn't get, the dynamic range doesn't go to, it's not like massive, it's like this tiny. And what I usually check is with the waveform, there's something called resampling. Let me show you guys. So what I do is, let's say for this one, I will, select resampling, and then I will monitor in, it, audio from, I haven't used it in a minute. I used it once, but it's something I get keen on. It's basically, I like to check the health level of the wavelength. So if it's like massive, I'm like, okay, I need to reduce the dynamic range and make it at least, make it so where the loudest and the lowest sound are not that there's no huge difference between that. And I find like once you use that perspective, once you go into mastering, was like I'm mixing on the go. Once I go into mastering, like I can just like expand it. It's basically making it louder, and it still has that dynamic range. Like I have a visual reference for like healthy waveforms and like waveforms where I find like, it's sausage, which a lot of my tracks are. But it's the trade-off. If you want like make club tracks, I'll get keen on it later on. But for me, it's more about the creation. I'm not a mix or mastering engineer. So if I do my producing job, great. Eventually I'll find someone to do that stuff. But I just find a nice balance between yeah, the loud and the minimum. That's a good point. So if it's like 12, my loudest element would be 12, my lowest element might be at 30. And I feel like that's a good reference point. So that's like my logic behind it, and it makes for great masters that I'm starting to notice. Yeah.
Maybe we can take one or two more questions before I pass it back to Monrea for concluding remarks and maybe assignments. We're getting homework. I don't know. Any other questions before we wrap things up?
No, just wanted to say thank you. It was super interesting. I'm pretty new or unexperienced with production, so that's why just taking it all in.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't know if Marshall is still here, but yeah, it's great to have both BUDALAGI and Marshall. For me personally, it was really instructive. I hope it was for everyone else as well. Monrea, do you want to take us out?
Yeah. So before I do that, just to recap for this session. So the elements you used were, so you said you mainly have, or rather focus on the drums, where you'd have the kicks, percussive elements like claps, shakers, snares, and right? And then you have the bass, and then pads, at least for this demonstration, yeah?
Yeah. Like my priority list is usually the drums, and then bass drums. They oscillate, but usually bass drums, and then I'll go to the more mid elements. But like my tracks, I can live with them not having like pianos and stuff and synths, because I like it's just like a African, like it's usually drums and chants, and I love that. I dig that.
Okay, nice. Thank you. Cool. Yeah, I feel the same. I feel good. And like it was a really, really like constructive session. I've learned a lot. So yes, we do have an assignment where we'll take time to create from what we've learned today. I've linked a Google folder in the chat where I think like we can take 3 days, 3 to 4 days to create something from what you've learned today, and then upload it to the folder there. So the next steps would be I'm here to share on the techno, the live session once we have confirmation from the venue, where we will share or rather play the tracks we've created live. At least we can feel how they feel on like a system, know like how to go about creating the next time we do. We'd like to also encourage live performance or production. So from what you've created, you can layer it in a way that you can use hardware as well. So if you'd like to participate in that, please do share with us. Yeah. And yeah, definitely, I'm down to have more of these sessions. I really, really enjoyed it. And I feel that like back then, I really, really wanted to create techno music, but every time I did, like it was, it didn't turn out the way it was in my mind. So having this session, it's really eye-opening and exciting. Cool. Yeah, I think we're good to go unless there's any other questions. I think we can call it a night.
I just want to say a big thank you to everybody who showed up and stuck with us through the technical difficulties, or the technical difficulties. It was really fun and really rewarding. So thanks, Monrea, for organizing this, and thanks, Marshall, and thanks to everybody for the tips.
Thank you.
Yeah. Nice.
One thing for she, I know the rest of us at least have been producing, or rather have some know-hows through it. We'd love to like provide a space, like be open, do like ask us. I'm down to do like a co-producing session just to get you more acquainted with production. As you go through your journey, NGO as well. Sorry.
I said cool. I just said cool.
Oh, okay, sweet. Yeah, other than that, the people in the at Santori Salon, Coco, Justin, Sabi, Mukewa, I think that's it. And Budalagi, thank you.
Yeah, I got to hit my line.
Nice. Yeah, and see you in session 3. Let's push each other to just test out and try out creating tracks, and then we can see how it feels in big systems. Then now we can build on that. Yeah, cool. All right, bye. Oh, wait.
Thank you.
Bye.
Oh, wait. Oh. Sorry. So we want to take a screenshot. If you guys can come to the screen, if that's okay.
All of us.
Yeah, and also Marshall and she.
Oh my God.
It's quite dark here.
Techno.
Wait, we're not seeing it again. Wait.
Oh,
It's my whole account.
Sorry, you guys, one second. Do you mind stopping the screen share?
Okay.
Oh wait, so one.
Did I smile?
You don't click it on
Smile.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, go. Sweet. We got it.
Nice.
Thank you. And good night and good day to Marshall.
Thanks.
Have a good day, Marshall. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
That's good. Yay. It's home vibes. Wait, so how do I stop the recording? I don't want to mess up anything.
I don't know. You want to go.
What if we didn't record?
No, you see, it's staying still.
Oh, yes.